This is Piano Tips with Shelly Hamilton, playing musically, Lesson 2. Today, I want to look at the hymn, When I Survey the Wondrous Cross, from the hymn book. This is Majesty hymn book called Rejoice Hymns, number 293. This particular hymn, in the hymn book, on this particular hymn book, is arranged with the first and second stanzas being with the traditional harmonies, verses 1 and 2, and then it is arranged to go into the minor key for verse 3 to picture the text. See from his head, his hands, his feet, sorrow and love flow mingled down. And then we modulate into the key of G major for the last stanza to make it very majestic. Were the whole realm of nature mine, that were a present far too small, love so amazing, so divine. So, first of all, I want to recap what we learned in Lesson 1 of playing musically. If you remember, we need to keep a rounded hand position, no caving in knuckles, and then we also need to depress the key down like you're massaging the key or kneading bread. One Facebook friend told me she tells her students that they should put their finger into the key like they're going into silly putty, and it kind of just sticks there as you play each key. And I thought that was a nice illustration of how you are to play like you're massaging the keys. And then the last lesson we learned is to use proper phrasing. And so you want to increase in volume just like you speak, and then decrease in volume at the end of a phrase. So if you look at the hymn, When I Survey the Wondrous Cross on which the Prince of Glory died, it starts kind of small, and then it will start increasing in volume and intensity, and then comes back down, just like you would speak it. On which the Prince of Glory died. Okay, so what I want to add today is that you need to learn to play with forward motion. My dad, Dr. Frank Garlock, studied with Robert Shaw, a very famous choral conductor. And one lesson Dad learned from Robert Shaw was to take a choir, divided in half. This half of the choir would sing do 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 do, while this half of the choir would just sing the words. So what that illustrates, it's giving this music forward motion because you don't want dead music. Just as if I were talking to you right now, I would talk and I would have no forward motion or excitement in my voice. I'm speaking softly, but there is no inner movement, motion in there. And you don't want your playing to not have forward motion. I could just play. There's no inner excitement or motion. My dad has always told me music should be so alive that if you cut it with a knife, it would bleed. So we don't want any dead music in our churches. So it needs forward motion. So inside of you, as you play, you should think. So I've got this phrasing, I'm rising in intensity and volume, but I'm also have this underlying forward motion. So I'm going to go ahead and play this arrangement using forward motion, using a rounded hand position, using feeling into the keys, and then also using the proper phrasing. I will add one more element to playing musically. When you play musically, you need to have proper dynamics. You don't want everything to sound MF, just medium loud. That is a tendency that everything just kind of sounds with this medium forte sound. Some things need to come back and be soft. Some things need to build. Just as you don't want everything to be MF, you don't want everything to be loud. Okay, everything is just loud. That gets hard on the ears as well. So you want to have proper dynamics. You want to have soft, proper phrasing, forward motion, and then sometimes you will even pull it back to pianissimo or mezzo piano. And then at the very end, then it can be very loud. Now that's not saying sometimes an arrangement will be pretty much all loud, but that is the exception. And sometimes a piano arrangement will be all soft, very, very meditative. But even when it's all loud or all soft, you want this forward motion and proper phrasing. So all of these things, all of these elements enter into your mind as you're playing the piano. Before I play, let's consider one more element. As you play a hymn and you have the words in front of you, think the text. Think the text as you play. This first verse is, "When I survey the wondrous cross on which the Prince of Glory died." I need my music to match the text. The third stanza, "See from his head, his hands, his feet, sorrow." And then the last stanza is what we already reiterated, "Were the whole realm of nature mine." So as you're playing and you play musically, think the text, and this will help you word paint those words.